Hello, everybody, and welcome here to our session. You can ask me everything. I'm here together with, you will introduce yourself, I guess. But first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Beate. I'm in the board of the 42 Verein, which is the basis here for this school. I worked more than half of my life with Volkswagen, and end of last year I quit to do something differently. And I really like right now supporting Max and Josef and all the team members here. And this is also why we are sitting here, because we as a school always look for partnerships where we can learn from and partners who can benefit from the school as well. And we know each other for quite some time already. And I thought he is a very forward-thinking type. So he probably also would be interested in, would be a good partner here for the 42 schools.
Thank you, Beate. So my name is Christoph, so short Chris, if you want to approach me afterwards. And my last name is Wargitsch, it's Wargitsch. This is also the name of the website, and this is the website of our company. I'm the CEO of Wargitsch Transformation Engineers. Why we call it Transformation Engineers, I will explain you a bit later. First, I was asked to introduce myself.
Yes, please.
And it's more than 20 years, Beate, that we know each other.
Wow.
So, wow. Time's running very fast. I'm actually a physicist. I studied physics at the Technical University of Munich. And then I went abroad. I did some research in Tokyo, in complex systems, and in the US. Close to Chicago, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. The later one, it might be interesting for you because this is also the location where the NCSA is sitting, the National Center for Supercomputing Applications. I don't know if someone of you knows that. It's the location where the Netscape browser was invented. And next to that, NCSA is the Beckman Institute, where I've been, and this was also the mother unit for the CCSR, Center for Complex Systems Research. And this is something that's actually driving and motivating me since then. So complex systems is one of the things that I'm thinking about day and night since 25 years. After that, I did a PhD coming back to Germany in economics. So I have two legs. I'm a two-legged animal, technology, natural sciences on one hand, and business administration on the other hand. And this opens up a lot of perspectives, as you can see everything from different perspectives. Then I entered my career with A.T. Kearney. I don't know if you know A.T. Kearney, strategy consulting. And I had a project at Audi, and Audi said, you have nice ideas. Are you able to implement it? So implementing, that's all about. And so I said, yes, of course, I believe in my ideas. So I switched over to Audi and was setting up the CRM unit, customer relationship management, a pretty new concept at that point of time, because customer was something which was very unknown to the automotive industry. We knew a lot about dealers and importers, but the customer was very far away. So we tried to get a bit more closer to them. And then I switched over to Volkswagen, and I took over the marketing and sales IT, a quite strange animal, a lot of creative persons who have a lot of demands in different ways and harmonize all these marketing and sales guys into goods IT solutions is one of the big challenges of life, I think. This is where I met Beate. I think you have been at the SCM side, production processes at that point of time, right?
I was responsible for the purchasing. Topics and projects at that time.
Then I switched over to the German Telecom, to T-Systems, which at that point of time was one of the really big IT companies in Europe, 50,000 IT guys. And I was running part of the sales account team. And but after almost 10 years in industry, I was a bit tired of all these administrative stuff and overhead and hierarchies and reportings and meetings. And I said, I will do my own thing. And I founded the Transformation Engineers here in 2008, just 8 weeks before Lehman crashed. So we are quite experienced in crisis and crisis management. We survived now the second crisis in our lifetime as a company, as you all know. I think also this institution was founded in the midst of the crisis, the COVID crisis. And yeah, we are still alive, and we celebrate now the full month. From 1st of June, we started with our celebrations in Singapore. And tonight, we have a little dinner together with some colleagues from Volkswagen, some guests, some partners, and we celebrate our 15th year now. So we are not quite a startup anymore, but we always try to stick somehow to every day is day one. You know that, I think, from Jeff Bezos. Every day is day one. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Beate.
15 years in IT is quite some time. So you watch the technology changing probably.
Very much, yeah.
What were impressive events or things that happened during that time that you remember quite well?
I think there were some events which have also had a very economic effect. I mean, the crash down of the new market in 2000, 2001 was very impressive. So the internet was coming up and all the e-commerce sites and web, and then the whole market crashed, and it was kind of a shakeout of ideas. And this was very interesting. I think in terms of technology, there has been a lot of changes the last 25 years. And I think back, I programmed my first artificial intelligence solutions in 95. It was a backpropagation neural network. So this is how old this technology is. And having that developed was quite impressive for me, because I've seen how pattern recognition works, and then more or less the artificial intelligence was vanishing. Nobody was talking about it. Now it's coming up again. I mean, now the power of hardware is better, the methods are better, and now it's coming back. Yeah. And in terms of software technology, you know that much better than me. Object orientation was a big switch. How you do that, libraries, semi-automation in coding, or even full automation now coming up with AI. I think these are the things that are changing a lot, or all the things that you can find in corporate IT now, Docker container technology, the trend going to low code, no code, serverless IT. This is something that you should keep in mind. Yeah. And and the other thing is, you still have in large companies is also learning huge piles of legacy software and applications. I think at Volkswagen is more like, I think like 6,000 applications, each with an own life cycle, with an own budget, sometimes an owner. Sometimes difficult to find an owner for an application with a lot of interfaces, and to manage this huge complexity in all levels, from infrastructure up to processes. This is really a challenge, and this we should never lose in our mind in inventing all new stuff, and how to move this old world into the new software IT world. I think this is one of the biggest challenges you will face as engineers.
Yeah, that's true. What is your daily life or daily work looking like?
The business we are doing, yeah. We call ourselves transformation engineers, and this term comes from combining something very generic and soft, which is transformation. It's a hype expression and hype word, with something very structured. Engineers like to think very structured, find reasons for faults, very think about problems, and find tailored solutions. So it's a combination of something soft with something structured, and this is the way how we like to treat transformation. This is what we do in our daily job. So we We help our clients to manage complex transformations, meaning changing on the human level, mindset, skills, behaviors, on the organizational level, structures, roles, processes, tasks, work methods, and on the technology level. And all three together are important for us, and we call it, that's the system we are talking about. It's not just the technology system, it's the organizational system and the personal psychological systems where you all are in with your brains and your will. And in this combination, we say we want to help our clients in a structured process to get a grip on this complexity and really get an impact. That really something is changing. And how do you change things that they really last? And how do you get organizations sustainable and flexible in a way that they don't have to change every 10 years in a big new release of a new organization, but get self-adaptive and get viable. That's the big challenge we are doing every day.
And why is transformation so important that you found a company which is called like that? We always saw a gap between the pure strategy work that a lot of strategy boutiques are doing and leaving the clients with, hey, this is the strategy you should follow. On the other hand, a lot of implementation consultancies who are doing the implementation of software, of marketing concepts, but there was a missing link in between. And this is what we call actually transformation. And the process that we created is from the strategy, from finding the problems to the solution design, the transformation design, to a planning, to the implementation. So the whole thing integrated in one process, in one transformation approach. This was something that actually wasn't on the market at that point of time. And at the same time, embracing all these dimensions I mentioned, human, organization, technology. This is actually what really was interesting for me. And I like to do interesting things, not the boring ones. So, very good, very good. In times of new technologies, with cloud computing, with artificial intelligence, or with quantum computing, we have indefinite possibilities, and we all feel, I think, that the world is changing every day, and even faster the change is, from my own perception at least, what I'm feeling and seeing. The world is so small, you can have every information at one click, and this is why I think this is really a meaningful topic, because we all have a background, and we cannot forget our heritage and what we learned during our life, but we have to adapt ourselves to what's coming, and that even faster every day. But I'm asking a lot of questions. You probably also have some questions when you heard what Chris is talking about. Is there anything you would like to know from him? Yeah.
The first one.
Your first, second, third. Okay. Yeah.
Complex systems. It's a expression consisting of two words, complex and systems. So complex is if it's not simple and if it's not complicated. Complex is you can measure. If you're a physicist, you measure complexity by the number of combinations that a system can have. And the higher it is, the higher the complexities. It has a lot to do with dynamics. If systems are dynamic, if they are not deterministic. Most of the complex systems are nonlinear. So you don't have effect X and outcome Y. So usually it's nonlinear. This causes a lot of challenges. You can't do a good forecast how complex systems evolve, the structures that emerge. This is complex, and it's a whole area of research, complex systems. And then the interesting thing is it's not bound to a certain discipline. So complex systems you can find in technology, in software, you can find it in biology, in psychology, in organization sociology. So there are a lot of disciplines who deal with that term, and the theory behind that is spanning all these disciplines. So it's actually the counterpart of a disciplinary topic, because it's touching everything actually, and that's complex systems. And systems is, it's also very universal. It can be technology systems, social systems, social media are also part of social systems, and then vice versa. Does this answer a bit?
Yeah. Okay. No, next one was there, then he was, and then.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're the moderator.
Yeah. Okay. I'm the moderator. I take.
When you started your own startup, what kind of difficulties did you face? And if there is a developer who starts his own startup, and what kind of difficulty he should face, like the business hierarchy and everything?
So I mean, what's an advice if you as a developer want to start your own company?
No, what were your experiences when you started your own business?
Yeah.
What were the challenges at that time, or what learnings did you have when you started your own business?
Yeah, I mean the one of the big challenges that a lot of startups don't really see is simply plain financial management. Yeah. So if we founded without any investor, so it was out of your own money. It was, and we were growing out of cash flow. So you always, especially in the beginning, you have to keep in mind liquidity. Yeah, this is actually very boring advice, but most of the startups in the first 5 years, they simply vanish because not the idea is not good, or because there's no market, they're just running out of money. And so keeping in mind what's happening when you're founding a company in terms of financial management is one of the things I learned. Hard learning if you go immediately after some months into a crisis, but you also learn how to deal with that. What are the possibilities to engineer your financials? And of course, this is the operative side. The strategic side is, do you have a really good idea? What's your place in the market? What's the idea where you think there's a niche somehow, there's an interest, and do you find customers for your idea? I've seen a lot of startups who have brilliant ideas. It's really interesting, but there's simply no market for that. If you as a founder are the only one who is thinking your idea is interesting, then you have a problem. Yeah, you need to have some people who also find it interesting and who are willing to pay money for that. It's really as simple as that. Yeah.
Then next one was over there. You had.
My question actually got covered.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. Then
So
it's your
I'll
turn.
ask my question. My question would be like, how do you suggest in this today's information overload world, like how can they cope up with this information overload and not get distracted with things? How to focus? How do you focus nowadays, like with this information overload? That would be my question.
Good questions. How do you steer your attention to something? Yeah, it has a bit to do with discipline. Yeah, there are so many distractions which are not really useful. If you look at all the feeds and the reels and whatever on social media, it's a lot of funny stuff. I love that too, and I always save that for looking later on it because I don't have time for that. So, I think it's the challenge to have a kind of a core idea about something, and circling around that core idea and always coming back to this core idea. For me, it's complex systems, for example, and transformation. This is the whole thing I'm focusing on in my professional career, and I try to read as much as I can, and especially that area, to be one of the experts in that. Of course, we have now new tools helping on that. Yeah, I use a lot ChatGPT, to be honest. Yeah, because it's much faster to filter out stuff and to say, hey, what are the 5 most important points doing X, or what's your suggestion? Which location should we look for if we want to enter this and that market? and this is fast, so it's filtering, yeah. And I also have a lot of people who are reading stuff for me. They're reading newspapers, and they say, hey, you have to take a look at this and that article. So they read the whole newspaper, and the 1% that's interesting for me, that they spill over to me. Even my wife does that. She reads a lot of newspapers, and I get sometimes emails in the morning, just read this, and then I know, yeah, interesting. Because you're right, if you read everything that's coming into your mind or watch movies, you're totally overwhelmed. So basic idea in having use of AI, yeah, for a very new way of doing that, and also having maybe a network of your friends who specialize in certain areas, and they read it and they filter it for you. They curate it, yeah, and say, hey, this is important and this is interesting, read that, and not the 25 other articles on that. Yeah. So networking on that could also be an idea.
So you need a lot of help. Yeah.
Yeah, I need help.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think the basics is important. You need to know your stuff, the technology you're in, being effective in what you're doing. But the other advice is being very open-minded and communicative. Yeah? It doesn't help if you're working in your own little corner and nobody knows what you're doing. You have to communicate, getting to know what are the demands, the technical demands, and telling what you're doing. So communication with your environment is very, very important. And being able to understand the world around you in terms of modeling. This is one of the things that's getting even more important because the world is going more complex, and to understand what's going on and trying to get a model of the real world. I mean, I guess you have modeling tasks in what you learn day by day. This is very important. And to judge things, yeah. For example, what we like to do is if we're hiring people, we always do Fermi problems. Enrico Fermi was a very famous physicist in Italy, and he was very famous for having an intuition about very complex problems. He was judging, for example, the pressure of an atomic bomb by just throwing out some paper pieces and see how they evolve. And this was his idea. Or if you are judging some figures, can this be realistic that the costs of this and that are have this height, or if this is working like so? Having a good sense of in judging things and in the real world, and always think what I calculated with my piece of software. The outcome, does it make sense? So you have this judgment. Yeah. So train yourself a bit on Fermi problems. F-E-R-M-I is a very interesting thing, and it's a lot of fun, by the way. Yeah.
Was that okay? Yeah.
Didn't understand.
Suggestions for the students here. Do you have any?
Yeah. So, I mean, my PhD father, once when I did a PhD, my professor said, if you haven't put yourself hanging out of the window and trying to toss yourself down, you never really did a PhD, because sometimes you get so desperate because you don't get the solutions. And the advice on that is everybody made that experience, or almost everybody. So to be aware, everybody's facing difficulties where you're stuck somehow. And one advice is change your environment, move, yeah, do sports, work with light, with different temperatures, with changing the food, whatever. So sometimes you have to switch from your inner status into the outer status, and experience yourself in a different way. Yeah, with your body, with doing sports, whatever. This helps a lot in getting out of a depression or having circling thoughts all the time. This helps. Do a walk. Yeah, get some fresh air. Just get out of your room and do something else. Have a break. This really helps. Because I also have some phases where you're thinking about something over and over and over again. just do a break and distract yourself with something in the nature. Yeah. And this helps a lot. Keep that always in mind. Everybody's facing that.
But choose something you really like, because you have to work in that area for a long period of time. And this is why you should take something where you really have interest in.
Very burnt for, yeah.
Yeah. But you start feeling that, yeah, by experiences, trying the things out. And if one thing does not work out, then try the next one and ask also the others. And
to make a plan, try first A, then B, then C, then D, and okay.
So you mentioned like when you get a new client or a new problem you want to solve, and then there's also like the part of the people where you try to change the mindset of the people and what they are doing. And how do you approach that, and what are like the challenges you face doing like bringing the people to new ideas, and what are often challenges the people face?
I think the first step we do is we listen very carefully. You have to understand why is somebody at a certain point. And this is depending on the culture that he's facing day by day in the company, in his personal environment, and also the history. Sometimes people made some experiences with former projects, and you have to understand what has been like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and why is he thinking like that right now? If you don't understand that, it's pretty hard to have an impact, because you don't reach them, because you understand them. So understanding, listen, and try to understand the environment of somebody and the past. If you don't understand the past, you don't understand the present. This is one thing we do, and we try to find out what the culture is. So we do a lot of cultural analysis. This is very important. There are certain methods to do that, and see what the collective culture of a team is, of a whole unit is. And then you have a starting point to change things. And the second thing is you have to have a very clear vision where the end point is. Yeah. Sometimes the goal is very fuzzy. We have to be more effective or more agile or whatever, but this is not something you can really imagine. And so it's not easy to move people to something which is not really clear. So designing the future, visualize it and make it very clear, very detailed where to head to. This helps a lot, changing the mind and help moving people to a certain point.
Yeah, and I think also from my experience, the people need an environment where they can feel safe. Yeah, so they do not have the fear that they are not necessary anymore after the transformation, but that everybody will have a perspective also in that transformation process. And sometimes you say, well, this is not my world anymore, so I go away, but I decide that. And others say, well, finally they listen to my ideas. I can make all my dreams happen in that new environment. But they have to have the feeling that they are heard, and somebody listens to them, and that they can feel safe and do not have to fight against the whole process.
Yeah. We have 10 working principles. The team invented it itself, and we stick to it. And one of the principles is be brave, fail fast. So start fast, try to fail and learn. And if this is a principle of your company, then you can feel safe, because you know it's allowed to make errors and mistakes. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you very much for your time. If I may get back to the complexity theory and complex systems once more, because I'm really amazed by the knowledge that there is this post-Newtonian paradigm. I really enjoy it. How your journey with it started? Like, I want to get to know like more details. Maybe if you could learn about it once more, what resources would you choose?
To learn about?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very broad field, and some of the stuff is really difficult to understand. If you read, for example, Niklas Luhmann, has complex systems in in the social arena, it's pretty hard to read. So, but it's a suggestion, at least to try to read some summaries of that. Yeah. There's a lot of good literature in management cybernetics, where people are thinking about complex systems from the management perspective. This is a bit easier to read and to understand. This is a suggestion. I'm a fan of the viable systems theory. Yeah, and there's some good secondary literature about the viable systems theory, which was invented by Stafford Beer. If you read the original stuff from the 50s and 60s of the last century of Stafford Beer, it's sometimes not that easy, but there are newer books that came out like 2, 3, 4 years ago dealing with that. It's a good entry to understand that. And I mean, I wouldn't go into the physics, yeah, because the physical stuff in complex and chaos theory is actually a part of complex systems. If you go to the real deep theoretical stuff, you really have to have a big mathematical background, yeah, to understand nonlinear oscillations, trajectories, things like that. But there are some books who just describe the phenomenons, like how something is emerging, how linearity works in general. So I would do a mix, yeah, in the different disciplines that dealing with complex systems, just to get a feeling of what's most interesting for you.
Hey, my name is Dasha. Thank you for being here and answering our questions. You said a lot of things about your education, and I would like to elaborate a little bit on that. I have 2 questions. The first one is whether you have been in your life at the point where you couldn't get into university you wanted, and how you dealt with that. Like, for example, you wanted to go to MIT and do your PhD there, but instead you went to another one. And the second one is whether you think that education, like one of the key things that you got from education is how to deal with uncertainty, because we live in a world which is changing really fast, and we know that basically we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I'm curious whether your journey to PhD helped you to, like, I don't know, understand that and to live with that.
My choices were at the beginning when I studied physics was I couldn't actually, I wasn't generally interested in how the world works, but I couldn't decide in a certain discipline like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. Then I chose something that's very generic, and physics is very generic. You can do everything with physics. It's not that easy to study, but it's something that helps you to understand the principles. So this was actually the major reason behind that. And doing the PhD, what helps doing the PhD is, I think the best learning you get is that it takes some time, and you have to put some energy and some consistency in getting a real results in something that's difficult. So you learn there's no shortcut or there's no easy pause. You have to go the whole way, and you have to embrace what you are doing, and you have to stand the frustrations in that. This was actually the biggest learning, and to learn how you work on that, and get to know yourself, how to work and how to deal with this long pause to go. Yeah. You're welcome.
We also have a question here in the chat on Zoom. Is it possible to have an open source mindset that can relate to business model? Does it work having only recognition?
For me, the question is, if you are sharing everything, what is then the thing you are selling in the end? So what is your USP where you earn your money from? I think sharing is a good way, benefiting from the network, but in some areas, yeah, this is where you need to make the money from, at least today still, yeah. And
okay.
This is perhaps when you use a network for I don't know, getting new ideas in, or using technologies from others, because you cannot invent everything.
Yeah.
This makes sense, but nevertheless, your product must be unique still.
Yeah, that's right. So the thing is, of course, there are some concepts and tools that we invented, which we don't just share as an open source, because it's something, there's a lot of energy in that, and we use it for our own projects. So, but we share all other ideas. For example, our framework, you can find it on the internet. We invented an engineering framework for transformations, and you have to share it a bit, because you have to explain what you're doing. If you're just saying we're doing something, but we don't tell what we're actually doing, then it's pretty hard to sell your stuff. And the other thing is the real value for the client, for the customer, comes from the knowledge of your employees, from your consultants, and it's the interaction. And this is something that cannot really be copied, because it's in the minds, it's in the organizational memory, so it's somehow distributed in your company. So you and building up this culture, this mindset, this knowledge shared with all your consultants. This is not something that you can just give away, because it's there, and it's not something that can be stolen, because it's not easy to be copied.
But nevertheless, when you share your thoughts and your knowledge, you normally get back also a lot of new ideas, and this then increases your, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with interaction and with circular learning.
Yes, sorry, thank you for this. Yeah, you answer this. In my mind, I always have this open source idea, but is this, how much can you share and how much you keep for everything? I mean, research, also, for example, with the vaccine of this COVID time, this crisis that we have, it get to be developed because someone shared. But how much you can share, there's still the profit that you have to get. Thank you very much.
Okay. So there was another question here.
My question is like, so I'm switching my career, right? I'm a mechanical engineer. I studied, and when I finished my studies, I faced some issues like finding a job, like finding expectations with the industry, what they're looking for, what I'm looking for. Now I'm changing to another career, to software development, which I always loved from my early childhood. And how would you suggest, like, for new students who wants to switch their jobs, or like to make this expectation meet with the industry? Like, you applied for jobs, like for 2 years, I didn't get anything, and not the place I really wanted to work to. So how would you suggest, from your perspective, like, what do the new students should do, for the next generation should do about this expectation? How can they meet the industry expectation?
This is a very general question, but I mean, if you have majored in something where there's not really a labor market, then of course it should switch. Sometimes it helps if you just save your knowledge from your first studies and try to combine it with something new. So if you have a background in mechanical engineering, that was pretty hard to find a job, and you're going now to software development, I think there's a lot of good combinations in combining your mechanical engineering knowledge with software development knowledge, because you're able to model in your mind how mechanical models and systems work. And so this could be an advice for you to just save some of your energy you put into your first studies. And on the other advice, I mean, the more flexible you are in terms of location and nation or geographies, the easier it is. If you just want to say, I want to just work in central Wolfsburg and there's not a job for you, then maybe you should widen your circle for search.
Yeah, I think maintaining the knowledge up to date is very important, while applying, of course, and as you said, combining what you already learned with IT is always a great idea. And in fact, time right now is on your side. When you look in the newspapers, you do not look in the newspapers anymore, but you read about how many open positions there are in IT or in technical area jobs. You will probably find something immediately, and not just one offer you will get. The baby boomers right now are retiring here in Germany. there will be a big lack of good people going then into the positions which then are open. And yeah, you read so many advertising also in the streets where they need people, because I was passing a bus and it was saying not where the bus is going, but that they are looking for people who are working there. And so a lot of people are wanted at the moment. So this is why I'm saying time is on your side at the moment.
Yeah. Also from the administrative side, I think there's a lot of development now going on in making it much easier to work in Germany if you're a non-German citizen. The restrictions will be lowered because we are an aging society, as Beate said, and there's a lot of professionals missing in the labor market now. So it will get easier.
If you look back at your experience and reflect on your daily life, what daily habits helped you to become successful, and how do you define success for yourself?
The personal habits. We had a few minutes ago the topic focus on something. It helps you if you have some routines on stuff that's not really worth thinking about. Which clothes should I wear every day? When should I go to bed? Just have some routines and having some things that you don't really think about, and have the energy of your mind keeping on what's really interesting for you. This helps a lot. Yeah, just wipe the things out that are distracting by generating some routines. And success for everybody is something different. Of course, it's economic success and success in your job, earning some money, being successful with your projects. I mean, putting energy and visualize your goal, to really have a feeling, how does it look like when I reach the goal? This helps a lot. And then keep that in mind, put it a bit on a side and focus on the process, how to get there. Yeah, but just only seeing the result helps at the beginning, but keeping in mind and then focus on the process, the steps to get there. This helps a lot to get really the success. Yeah.
And is there something you personally are very proud of from your career?
Yeah, we survived 15 years here in a very difficult and even getting more difficult market. Yeah, I think that's, and having a real cool team. Yeah, I'm really proud of my team. I love to work with them, and this is very proud of that we generated somewhere a culture and a company that's worth working there and having fun working there. Yeah, because I always wanted to find something that's not boring and not annoying to be there, where you hate when it's getting Monday and you start working again. Yeah, so this is what I'm proud of. Yeah.
I can confirm that it really good working team where you can have success together and share this experience is even better than having success on your own.
Yeah.
Does that help for you? Yeah. Okay.
Hey again, have you ever felt lonely in terms of the fact that you've been to a lot of places where usually people don't go, like universities and stuff like that, and that you studied there that is not one of the most popular ones in the world? I mean, how did you find your community? How did you find people you want to work with, you want to continue your journey with? And what is like, do you invest a lot of your time into networking right now, or it just works, like your name works for you?
I have several questions in one question, I think. The first, did I feel lonely sometimes? Was this the first part? Actually, never. Yeah, this. I love it to be like 2-3 days alone sometime, because I'm surrounded all the time by people, and I'm actually, don't laugh, I'm actually an invert. Yeah, doesn't seem like that, but from nature, I'm actually introvert. Yeah, and I'm talking a lot to myself about things. I'm never lonely. And in terms of networking, I think the trick is to move around. Don't just stay in one place, meaning professionally or with the topic or geographically. Move around. You get so many different aspects, and for me, networking is very, very important. Never stop doing that. And even it sounds funny for you because they're young guys, but if you're getting older, and if you're getting in your 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, you have a much healthier and longer life if you have a really good social network. Most people die of being lonely, and they always neglected their network. And this is very important. And mix it, not only your professional network, but from sports and your family, and keep that alive and put some energy in that. It's not something that goes for itself. You have to invest. You have to invest in your network and try to meet people, make a plan. What are my best friends? Whom should I meet? And always try to be open, even when you're getting older, to new parts of your network.
So we learn on mistakes. So it will be interesting to hear which mistakes you faced with during your career, or maybe not your personal, maybe developers you worked with. And the question is, what would be better to avoid during working as a developer?
What kind of mistakes did you make during your career? Perhaps we can start with that question first, yeah? And how do you...
Mistakes?
Yeah, and how do you...
Yeah. I think one of the mistakes if you're doing, especially when you're younger, when you're a very energetic manager in a company, you judge a bit too fast sometimes. You have so much energy and you try to get things off your table, and you just decide instead of, oh, let's sleep over something one night at least. Don't react in a direct responsive way. Just collect and calm down and try to think about it. I really regretted some emails I wrote on a Friday evening. I said, oh my God. Then the bomb exploded. And on Monday you said, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that one. This is that you learn, and this was a mistake you sometimes do. Yeah.
We have another question from online. Victoria, please go ahead.
Hi. I have a question regarding for us, new people trying to find a job. When it comes to going into a company, it's adapting to the company values, adapting to the working model they have, but also what in this case, in your company, what could you offer to new people that will say, I want to be there because it gives me a way, it keeps me thinking in new processes and new stuff, like not falling into the same routine is important, yes, but going into also physiological level, if you do the same thing all the time, you slowly start dying in your mind, actually, also. So how do you help people to also grow? Thank you.
I mean, there are two parts. One is the formal part. We in a company, we have a personal development plan for everybody. So we have a yearly big interview where we talk to each other and try to find out what's the things you're interested in, that you try to develop yourself, and where we see as a company there's some need for special skills, and we try to match both. To see, hey, this is something where I want to head to, and this is also helpful for you having that skill in our business. But this happens once a year, and then we stick to that. And I mean, besides travel costs, which slowed down a bit the last couple of years, the education cost in our company is the highest cost factor, because this is very important, especially when you're a smaller company. Yeah, you have to invest over the average, way over the average in our industry in education, in courses and certifications. This is one thing. And the informal part, we are organized a bit like Spotify. Yeah. So we have squads and guilds, and we have 9 different areas where you can engage yourself, where you can say, hey, this is something interesting. One is new mobility, one is GRC, governance risk compliance. One is design thinking. There's one sustainability and digital ethics. So there are 9 areas, and you can say this is interesting, and this group is working on these topics. They are visiting conferences, they are working on concepts, they try to find projects where they can use this knowledge, and this keeps you alive and helps you to get into new areas. And the second thing is we always try to have a maximum time of a consultant being on a project and then having a switch to another project. Yeah. Sometimes people don't really like that. Say, oh, I'm feeling so well in that project. I know everybody and I'm like a fish in the water and swimming there. And sometimes we have to force the people to say, now it's okay, get to something else. And then it's in the beginning, it's a bit, oh, something new, new client, new problem. It's doesn't feel really comfortable. But if you're only in the comfortable zone, then you don't have new challenges. And if you don't have new challenges, you don't learn. So at the beginning, it's always a bit awkward.
Yeah. Speaking of the company, what do you think your company separate themselves from their competitors in the market? What is something that others doesn't have?
Good question. It's my sales pitch now. Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you for the question. We didn't talk to each other before.
You should talk afterwards.
Yeah. I think there's not that many companies who focus totally on this transformation part of the business and having a framework for that and the method and tools that simply fit into that framework. I think this is special and having this mix. I mean, we are not that big. We are 35 people and having this mix of skills. So we have people from engineering, IT people, communication designers, video guys. We have philosophers, even who studied philosophy. We have even one guy, he was a priest. Now he left, but maybe he's coming back. Well, let's see. And this helped a lot, yeah, because he was very into understanding people. Yeah? He was like 15 years the head of a church, yeah, and then switched over as a consultant. And this mix makes it very special. And we always try to mix the different skills in one project. So we have 3 chapters. It's transformation management, it's communication design, and digital solutions. And in almost all of the projects, we have at least one of these chapters combined to one team, and this makes it really interesting. And I mean, this is a bit special. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My question follows another one. And what do you think that you are missing into your company?
Missing? Yeah, I mean, we have the same missing professional stuff that everybody has now in Germany. We need more IT people. Yeah. That's missing. So we have several open positions in support, in IT infrastructure, and in some other areas, and people who like to work interdisciplinary. Yeah. Enterprise architects is something that's really missing. We could have some more people. Cybersecurity is something that it's some skills that we try to hire and grow. But besides that, I'm actually happy.
But that could be a good continuation, perhaps, of this session, as the time right now is up. That you perhaps come back and talk about your work and what you're doing there. Actually, talking about more projects and if you feel that's interesting for you.
Yeah.
Can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Will do. Yeah.
So is there a very last question?
So we are looking to get into new careers. We want to become software developers and we want to get hired by companies. What values do you look for in people that you want to hire?
In terms of software development, we are developing our own tools for transformation. This is tools for checking the health status of transformation program, analysis tools where you get the results of interviews consolidated and somehow displayed in a three-dimensional space. These are things that we are looking for.
But also, what values should the people bring with?
Values?
Yeah, we were looking at the values over there. You
the
remember
values?
that, yeah?
From our values, we call it actually principles. Share your knowledge is one value you should really bring with you. Be open-minded. Try to talk to other disciplines who have totally different knowledge. So be open-minded to people who totally think different. This is something. Be consistent and a bit resilient, because sometimes we have very stressful projects. There's a lot of speed and dynamics in it, and customers in crisis, and you need to be able to stand that if it's getting a bit more tough and rough. So these are some of examples of values.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then thank you very much for all these questions. I liked it very much. It was my first time, but I had an easy job, so to speak. So you did all the questions, and I hope you liked it as well.
Yeah, it was very good talk to you. I really enjoyed it, and good luck for your careers and your work here in 42.
Yeah, and then we do that continuation. Yeah?